Welcome to the Gamers Inn. Come on in, pull up a chair next to the fire. It looks like you've had a long journey. I'm your host, Jocelyn, and joining me as always is my co-host, Ryan. Hello, Ryan.
Hey, how's it going? How's it going?
Pretty good. I hear my Leafs just scored, so it's 1-0 for Toronto. Take that.
I wanna warn everybody who's listening to this, either live or in the podcast. You're gonna notice Jocelyn's mood going up and down, up and down. That's due to this thing called the NHL playoffs,
Hockeys.
and the Toronto Maple Leafs are playing, and they're down in the series 3-1, but they're winning.
But they're winning tonight, which is key.
Is very key.
And a couple of friends will be sporting some new avatars if Toronto, in fact, beats Boston. So I am very excited about that. Also joining us tonight is our friend Scott, who a lot of you probably know from the Frog Pants community. And so, Scott, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Thanks for joining us. Later on in the show, we're going to be talking all about the OUYA, of which Scott is a backer and has in his hot little hands. So, exciting first look at the new OUYA system. I'm super pumped. So, first we're going to start off with what we're playing. So, since you're brand spanking new to the show, Scott, what have you been playing this week?
Well, this week I play a lot of Minecraft. That's one of the Frog Pants things I do. I help run the Final Score Minecraft server. But I also play Feed the Beast, which is like a mod pack for Minecraft, and it adds a bunch of cool mods, hundreds of mods, and it adds a lot of interesting things to the game. So I've been playing a lot of that. And then I've been playing Don't Starve, which finally is out of beta.
Right, so is that widely available for everyone to play now, or...?
I believe so. It's on Steam, and I'm not sure what platforms it's on, but I know for sure PC. But I've been playing a lot of that. It's a survival style game where you have to go and collect resources and build stuff.
I think I have seen a couple of people playing through just videos on YouTube and stuff, and it looks like fun. I mean, it seems like it might get a little repetitive, but I don't know. What are your feelings on it so far? Is it free to play or?
No, well, after it's a purchase game. Yeah,
right.
It's like I think it's like around $14 right now.
Oh, that's not too. Oh, so like indie title type pricing.
Yeah, it's an indie
cool.
title,
Yeah,
correct?
cool,
yeah.
Cool.
Then once you buy it, it's yours. And then as you go along, you keep unlocking things. As you collect enough resources, you research things, and you also get new characters. You can play with other characters as you go, and each one has a special ability of some kind, and so that makes it a little more interesting. And I believe the maps are randomly generated, so it's not the same map over and over that you're playing.
Okay.
So you get a new experience every time.
Oh, that's a lot of fun. So I just want to jump back to Minecraft because I was going to mention later on in the show, but I mean, if you've been playing a lot of Minecraft, then we might as well just pop it in right here that I was toying with the idea of starting a server. So since you run the Final Score server, do you want to just tell us quickly a little bit about Minecraft? Because I know both Ryan and I, it's kind of a game that we've wanted to play, but it's very intimidating because I've always felt like I'm not creative enough to play Minecraft. Not creative, not artistic, and so, do you want to just give us a really quick rundown of how you started the server and what it's like to actually play Minecraft?
Well, originally, I guess, it was Brian Dunaway from the Final Score. He's one of the hosts there. He started the server, and I came on right after, and eventually I asked him if I could take it over to move it to a better server because we were growing a lot, and people just came on and they find a little plot of land and start building. We built a city. We have the Frog Pants City, and we have 3 different worlds. You can travel to each different world and see all the things people have built. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't be intimidated because we always have new people coming on, and they just find themselves a little spot and start digging, and people are always helpful. And
that seems to be how to just start playing Minecraft. Every single video I've seen is just people run in and then just go down.
Just dig.
Just dig.
First thing to do is punch a tree, actually. You go punch some trees. And then dig a hole to hide from the monsters at nighttime.
What if the monsters fall down your hole, though?
Well, that's why you got to cover your hole.
That's solid advice.
That is solid advice.
And just pray.
Cover the hole and pray. Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, but once you get going, you progressively collect more resources, and then you're pretty much stable to where you don't have to worry too much But yeah, the initial start, it can be a little. I remember the first time I played a little over 2 years ago. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm like, what is this stupid game, you know? But I watched a few YouTube videos and that explained a lot. And just exploring and playing around with it is the best way to learn, I guess.
Well, I'm having a similar experience with Minecraft that I had with StarCraft 2, is that I kind of started by watching a whole bunch of YouTube videos and going, oh man, this is really a game that I want to get into and I'd really like to play. And I've been watching a whole bunch of actual YouTube videos before purchasing the game. And it's a great way to look at the play style and see some gaming and everything else without too many spoilers, especially in a game like StarCraft or Minecraft, where there's not a whole lot of, like, people don't usually stream the story. And there is no real story in Minecraft, is there?
Well, there is a side story because there actually is an end to the game. There's once you get to you find a certain dungeon. It has a portal to a place called the End, and you beat the Ender Dragon, and then basically the game's over. It has a little story thing that comes up. So there is an end somewhat, but mostly it is a creative game. But you can do a lot with it. It's almost, I've heard some people call it a tool, because you can build so many different things. Like we have a little park, we call it Frog Pants Park.
I think I've seen that one. That was on an episode, I think, of Frog Pants TV, where Scott was going around and touring the park.
Yeah, we added a lot more stuff into it. There's a lot of PvP style games. There's even one I like playing. It's called It's Bomberman, basically. So you go and blow up the walls, and you're trying to blow up the other players. And
oh, nice.
That's a lot of fun.
Oh, that's cool. So, Ryan, what have you been playing this week?
I just had a quick question about Minecraft.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Because I was thinking about it, and I know there's multiple versions of Minecraft. I assume, and because you have a server, you're playing on the PC. But have you given the Xbox version a chance, or the mobile version? Because I know they're separate servers, right?
Yeah, I play mostly on PC, but I do have the mobile version on my iPad and my iPhone, and I play that occasionally, mostly with my nephews, because that's all they have is iPods. And when one person can start a server, and you can all play on the same one, which is kind of fun. And supposedly they're supposed to keep adding more to that to make it a little more enjoyable. The Xbox One, I've limited play on that one. I haven't played a whole lot. You can play, I think, if you have 2 Xboxes connected, up to 8 people. Otherwise, it's just 4. I don't know if you can, and I think that's just your own personal server. I don't think you can play online servers, but I think they are actually working on something to where you can connect to servers and play with other people online.
So then the Xbox version of Minecraft isn't really the same experience, really, when you think about it. I mean, if the whole point is playing with a whole bunch of people in a server, I mean, I would feel like that would be most of the fun, would be hanging out with your friends and building houses, or I don't know what other stuff you could build, but lots of things. Anything, yeah. I guess.
I agree. If I go on our server and there's not very many people on, I'll probably just log off, because that's one aspect of I enjoy is the social aspect of it. Mm-hmm. You can build projects with other people, or just you have them there because you have a text chat in there, so just someone to chat with and whatnot while you're in.
Right. So just to wrap up the Minecraft talk here, anyone who is actually interested, I put out the call on Facebook and Twitter. So if anyone's interested in just kind of starting a brand new fresh server, I'm just toying with the idea, then yeah, just shoot us an email, shoot us a tweet, Facebook, whatever, however you wish to contact us, and let us know that you're interested in playing with us, and we'll try to get something together.
Yeah, you know what? I have been holding off on Minecraft, and I know that the Xbox and mobile versions aren't the true Minecraft experience, so this might be my chance to get in there. And I know the Frog Pants one is pretty active, but I like Jocelyn. I was like, I kind of want to get my feet wet, like on a clean slate.
Exactly.
I don't want to like hit a brick and then someone's like Star Trek mausoleum falls over, and it's not like Legos, I suppose. You can't like hit one thing and it all collapse.
Well, you never know. With my luck, I'd walk in and bump into something and ruin the whole thing, and everyone just be like, so Jocelyn's here.
I guess we're Minecraft noobs. I don't think there's physics, right?
I don't think so.
I don't know. Well, I look forward to it.
Yeah, I'm totally looking forward to it. Getting into it one way or another, I think.
Yeah.
It's time, Ryan. It's time.
Yeah, I guess.
Because we don't have nearly enough games to play right now. Speaking of Origin tech support issues.
Not issues. I actually EA owes me some form of currency. I don't know, either Bitcoins, Canadian dollars. I don't care because I've been doing their job. Ashley's coworker's 10-year-old son couldn't get The Sims to work. And I'm not complaining. I'm happy to help. I'm the techie guy who's like happy to be like, yeah, I'll look at your laptop. I'll help you out. No problem. Again, I'm not complaining. Just want to say that up front. So I get this laptop and the Sims wouldn't run because what they would do instinctively is click the Sims icon and it would load and then it would disappear because the Sims requires Origin. So then
Oh.
you go over to Origin and click the Sims there and it wouldn't let them play because the Sims is already running. So it's kind of this like stupid redundant
Origin
Origin.
thing.
Anyways, I ended up calling them over the phone and looking at their laptop and updating it for them, and I got it all sorted out. And then I come home from work the next day, and Ashley brings this card home, and it's a Spider-Man card, and it says it's a thank you, and it's written by Jacob. It says, "Thanks, Brian, for making my game work." From Jacob, and that was
That's
awesome.
awesome.
I felt so good, and I said, like, I'm sure Origin tech support does not nearly get as nice cards.
That's because they don't do their job.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
probably would have told him that it was all his fault, and if his game wasn't working, he should just buy another EA title, or
Yeah.
they'd give him an EA title.
Oh yeah, it's like, I think you're missing some key expansions, all 16 of them. But yeah, I got it working. I hope it's. Oh, I haven't heard anything, so I assume it's working now. So,
Oh, that's good. So what have you actually been playing?
what I've actually been playing, inspired by you playing Darksiders, going back to your backlog,
I've been going back, man.
way back,
Way back.
way
Not way back, we're like 2 years back, but still.
to the old frontier. No,
Teaser.
yeah, I purchased Dishonored back in December-ish. I don't know if you guys have heard or played Dishonored, but
Heard of it. I heard really good things, but just never picked it up.
yeah, it got really good reviews, and it was sort of this like new franchise put out by Arcane Studios, published by Bethesda. And it's hard to explain, but it sort of reminds me of a mix between like BioShock and Skyrim, I guess. And it's more of a stealthy type game, and yeah, you play as this guy named Corvo, and you're an assassin. But the way I play it is I don't kill anybody because there's this like chaos meter, and the more people you kill, like the darker ending you get, I guess. So I'm going through as the stealthy guy, and you have these powers to like blip around, like you can blink, I guess is the best way to
Okay.
put it. And I just constantly blinking around and like grabbing people and choking them out. You get to this level and there's like maids all over the place, and if you go in front of the maid, they'll yell at you and you get caught, right? Because it's a stealth game. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to like go in behind the maids and then choke them out, and the maid falls and you grab their body, and you have to be really careful not to throw them off ledges because that would kill, and that counts as a kill, you know, because at the end of the level they say how many times you've killed people. So here I am going through this whole level, and the end part of it is at this like balcony area, and I end up choking out the main guy. Sounds dirty the more I say it.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
And knocking him out, I guess, is the best way to put it. And the way I knock him out on the balcony is he falls forward a little bit, and he's just like precariously hanging on the balcony. I'm like, phew, that was a close one. Then his body slips over. He dies, obviously, and I get the high chaos ending. And also, I think I got caught at that point. Like, just alarms are going nuts. But it's this really cool stealth game, and you can play it like super stabby stab and go around and actually kill people. But I ended up just, trying to be as stealthy as possible. Al in the chat room Dishonored equals steampunk version of BioShock mixed with Thief. I never played Thief, but I've heard things about Thief.
I've never played Thief either. Scott, have you ever played Thief?
No, I have not.
No, yeah, too bad.
I haven't gotten too much into the stealthy games.
Yeah, I enjoy the stealth games. I like sneaking around, but I find that they get really frustrating really fast. It's like, you get so far and you've done so well, and you take one misstep and it's, start everything over. And you're just like, oh man.
Yeah.
Frustrating. I rage quit those games pretty fast. Just games in general that have infrequent save points. Like, say Red Dead Redemption.
Any game that says, "Hey, you should quick save as often as possible," is like one of those games.
Yes, exactly.
And this one had me quick
Dark
load,
Souls.
quick saving. Dark Souls. That game you could never quick save. That was just, it was a
bane
process.
of life.
Wait, you were only able to save at like campfires, I thought.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. I never made it outside the first castle or whatever it was, so I don't even know how you were supposed to play that.
First save. Yeah, so I don't know. I got all the way through it, and I played the new DLC. The new DLC actually sort of runs in parallel, and you play as one of the assassin who ended up doing something. I don't know if it's a spoiler or not. It's hard to say, but it was the actual assassin of the Empress in the story. It won't make any sense to you, but it's really cool, and they refine the techniques. So what was annoying in the first game, where it required 3 or 4 powers to do something. In this one, you have 2 powers that you can sort of just swap between to do very useful things. But it's an interesting title, and I can see why people really enjoyed it. And I think now you can get it on sale, I'm sure, like half price next time.
I've seen it pretty much always around the $30 mark now, which I can't believe the games that came out in December, like when they're not even 6 months ago, are already half price. Like, mind-blowing. And that's not even used. I mean, used, you can find them for like $25 now.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's just one of those things now. You just, if you really want to play a game, you got to make sure you're going to play it in the first 2 weeks, or else prepare to be disappointed that you paid full price for something. And that's not a thing.
Sometimes I just wait for the Steam summer sale to get some of those games, because they get a lot cheaper then, and
oh my God,
less risk.
Oh, the Steam sales. Oh, there's so many. Actually, yeah, I guess the summer one will be the next sale, eh? Will be...
Yeah, late. I think sometimes I'll be like, oh, there hasn't been a Steam sale in a while, and I'll try to look up like last year's, and I guess it was like mid-July. So post Nerdtacular.
Right.
That's sort of how I measure everything now. It's like, oh, E3 is pre-Nerdtacular. Okay,
exactly. Good. It's a good scale to measure by.
Just in case I get so attached to Utah and whatnot, and I decide to stay there forever. You never know. Yeah.
So, the chat room wants to know how far you are in the main story.
I finished the story, and I know a lot of people were complaining about the ending. So it's not a spoiler to say that throughout the game, like I said, there's a chaos meter, and the low chaos is when you try not to kill anybody. You don't kill any. You can kill people still, but you just can't kill as many, right? Like if you accidentally throw a major character off the balcony, or perhaps accidentally kill one of these like infected people, then you'll be fine. And the low chaos ending is sort of like this happy, yay, everything's good. And then you have the high chaos ending, which is basically blah, everything's bad, and
you failed.
and I've heard that depending on your chaos, different things will happen. Characters will interact with you differently. I've when you finish a game, and if you don't feel like playing through it again, you sort of research how your opposite choices would
I think you're the only one who actually does that.
A lot of people do that. Not everybody has time to play multi 16-hour games. Unlike, I don't know anybody who does that.
I have a question.
Sure.
So if you beat the original game, does the DLC have a whole new ending?
That's a good question. The DLC sort of acts as like a separate like side campaign, and it's, as far as I know, it doesn't really take into effect anything you do in the main game, because it takes place like outside of the main game. Like it's still like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but DLC is a separate story. It starts shortly after the start of the main game, but I don't believe it's going to get anywhere near where your actual character you're playing appears in the main game, if that makes any sense. That sounded really confusing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, good. But yeah, it's really cool, and I think there's one more piece of story DLC coming, which is the second part of this Knife of Dunwall, where you play as Dowd or something. I don't know. Some of the character names are kind of tough to remember.
I was going to say, you sound so informed right now. They're doing something with some dude that I can't really pronounce his name and stuff, but it's coming. It's coming, guys, I swear.
It's cool because you get to play as like the head of an assassin's guild, right? So, and you're super badass because you're like whipping all over the place, and I kind of feel bad that I didn't play as like the super killing person because you know, you feel kind of like a badass just whipping around and stabbing people. But I prefer to go in all stealthy and pick up the bodies and move them and be like, oh, yeah. That's one thing in stealth games they don't do, and I'm kind of glad they don't because it would be really annoying. But say there's two guards walking by, I can sneak up, grab the one, pull him back, choke him, and then move him somewhere else. But his buddy is like, oh, he must have gone to the bathroom. He doesn't even say that. He just keeps as if he's on his path, right?
Yeah,
like,
that happens a lot. I find Joel and I have been commenting on that in WoW in particular. Is like you can totally just like pick off, like pull the guys in the corner, and nobody else in the big huge room notices that you're having this epic battle right at the door, and you're just like, huh. If they all came right now, if they just kind of glanced over their shoulder, we'd be so screwed.
Yeah, it's interesting, and again, like the opposite, where like people are constantly questioning where the guy went. It sort of breaks the fun. So it's not as hardcore. I know Thief is sort of a hardcore stealth game. So in that sense, Dishonored isn't quite as hardcore, and I'm really glad for that because stealth games are hard enough to be fun when you're not super good at them. As you were saying, you know, if you're not really good at them, then, you know, the mechanics sort of make it not fun. So, but
yeah, the mechanics are totally what is killing me in Red Dead Redemption right now. Because, like, I mean, it's the exact same thing that happened to me in LA Noire because I'm not a huge Grand Theft Auto fan. And Red Dead Redemption feels the exact same as LA Noire in that they're just different skins on top of Grand Theft Auto. Different stories, they're absolutely beautiful games, they're really fun, and I'm really enjoying being in a Western world because I mean, I play a lot of fantasy type stuff, right? So it's a total switch for me and I like it, but I mean, I feel like I'm driving a horse. Like it's so weird.
You don't like carjacking another cowboy for his horse?
No. And I mean, like, I was like running through the wild and there was a little blue dot that showed up and there was this guy like, hey, help me. And I was like, oh my God, someone needs my help. And then he stole my horse and I was like, you dick.
Oh man, you should have Wild Wested that sucker.
That was my first experience. And then he just rode away on my horse and I was like, now I'm in the middle of nowhere, no horse.
That was
I'm going to make a camp.
I think the reason you're finding the same issues with that and the you know, it's like I think it's made by the same developers, right?
It is,
like,
yeah,
you know,
it's all the same. So
actually, I think what is it? LA Noire was made by a different one, but sort of it's all Rockstar.
It's all Rockstar, yeah. So,
but yeah,
I mean, it's well done. It's interesting. I'm really enjoying it. Except that you know, there's some. Just mostly the motion of the horseback riding is really throwing me off because they make you do it all the time. Like, you know, I think I've played about 3 hours of the game so far, and you horseback ride all the time. There's races, you have to outrun people getting to town, and then you have to drive like a little carriage thing, in which case you're driving two horses pulling a carriage and you're just like, oh man, when can I just like, I don't know, walk down Main Street and have a shoot off or something, you know? Like
so you're
That's
saying
multiplayer.
Yeah.
You're saying that you're not enjoying the horseback riding in a game set in the Wild West.
Yes.
Right.
So you might want
to I'm not going to make that joke.
No.
About that. I lost my train of thought. It sounds like you probably want to not play that game or take the carriages everywhere because there's a lot of riding horses.
I'm having the same experience that I did with LA Noire in that, like, I really enjoyed the parts where you stopped and you investigated the crime scenes and you got more of the story. That was really cool, but getting from crime scene to crime scene, I was just like, oh, I have to drive the car again. And it's just like, I mean, anyone who's ever played Grand Theft Auto, I mean, you have to agree with me. It's not a car driving game. It's not a racing game.
It's so much chunky. It's so much fun. I just try to drive as fast as possible, and just the way sometimes, like, my favorite part is when you have, oh, we got to turn right here, and you skid right, and then you just plow into the sidewalk, and everyone's just, wah! Come on, it's half the fun of playing GTA. Don't lie to me.
But I'm just saying that when most of the time, they've built this environment with these teeny tiny little paths that you have to walk your horse along, but then the skinny horse has the mechanics of a car, so it feels big and fat and chunky and like the width of a car, and you're trying to maneuver it along these paths, and I'm finding that, you know, I was in the middle of a bounty, they're kind of like mini boss fights, I guess you could call them. There's basically a whole bunch of minions and one big bad guy, and he doesn't take any more to kill than the minions, but, you know, and so you have to, like, run up this switchback mountain path to get to him, and I was in the middle of the path, and then I would just randomly fall off, and I was just like, I'm not even at the edge. And it was just like, because whatever square it thought my horse was more off than on. It was just like, oh, you fall off now. And I was like, what?
Is that how horses work? Like,
No.
I mean, I'm just curious. I've never ridden a horse before. So does Red Dead Redemption emulate riding a horse?
No, I have ridden many a horse.
Okay.
They don't just randomly jump sideways and fall straight down.
I just meant in the sense that, like, the control issues you're having, I mean, like, in terms of controlling, like, a giant car. That's not how horses work.
No.
I mean, I've seen my fair share of Heartland, but, like, I still don't know how horses work.
Are you playing on PC or console?
Console.
Okay.
Yeah. And, I mean, that could be part of the problem. I've tried changing my sensitivity in my controller a little bit, but it feels like I just don't like the horseback riding part. But like I said, like, the environments, like, because Joel watches me game over my shoulder quite a lot, and he said it's the best looking game. He has an animation background and art background, and he said, like, you know, usually he's like, oh, well, that looks dumb, or, you know, that lip sync is off, or, you know, why does that look like this, and blah, 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 blah. And he took one look at Red Dead, and he was like, wow, that's actually beautiful. And I was like, oh my god, we need to, like, write this date in the calendar. Joel actually likes the art in a video game.
The way the horse animates is probably, I think, one of the things that a lot of people really enjoyed about that game. Just the horse leg muscles and stuff. Like, it's been really tough to get, like, a horse really well done in a video game, and I think that was one of the praises people had for that one.
But then they put it on the model of a car.
Except for the controls.
You need to get to higher level, then you can drive a buffalo.
What?
Whoa.
I never got that far.
I
heard that game made people cry, but I didn't think it was because you got to ride a buffalo.
I think
Tears
like
of
around
joy.
level 40.
Tears of joy. Oh, so it's multiplayer only?
No, it's single player and multiplayer.
Oh, okay. I think I got, and a lot of people who have played and love this game are going to give me shit, but I think I got, like, halfway, maybe 3/4. I really, really enjoyed it, and for some reason, I think I rented it, and I just had to go back, and I was gonna go buy it, and I never got back into it.
It's pretty cheap now, so.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I got the Game of the Year edition used, and it was $20.
I want to play the Red Dead Redemption.
If you say Undead Nightmare, I'm gonna smack you through the internet.
The zombie. I want to play.
Why? I want to play that. It got really, really good reviews. Wait, why would you want to smack me? That's not very nice.
Because there's zombies and everything. No
Oh my
more
god.
Zombies.
This was before they did all these horror themed expansions, and it was really well received. And it's not just zombies. There's, like, mummies and yetis and I think other things in there, werewolves probably. Just because there's a zombie on the cover doesn't mean it's as bad as The Walking Dead Survival Instinct, Jocelyn.
Oh man, yeah, I'm just so done with zombies. No offense, zombie.
You were
lovers.
done with zombies the day we started this podcast.
That's true. Except The Walking Dead. I do like The Walking Dead.
The show.
The show.
I
Not
have
the
to
game.
clarify. I don't want to get anyone's hopes up. She didn't
No.
decide the game of the year of The Walking Dead was the good game. My game of the year. Sorry, my game.
Yes.
Said that sooner.
I just wanted to touch on one more thing really quickly before we move on. I actually I want to talk about Raptor because I have one good thing and one bad thing this week, because we talked about Raptor, I guess, 2 weeks ago when I started using the service. And so good thing first. Because I had, I think I reached a certain level in one of the games that they featured, which was WoW, Skyrim, or there was 3 or 4 other kind of fantasy MMO type games, and logged into Raptor, and there was, like, I can't remember, there are 5 or 6 different qualifiers that you had to do. But I got into Dragon's Prophet the closed beta. So I'm actually really excited about it. It's a new MMO coming out from Sony. It looks really, really cool. It's totally free to play. So I'm looking forward to being in the beta. I can't actually talk about it until the beta is done, but I'm pretty sure the beta is done in, I think, 2 weeks. So I'm going to play the beta, and then hopefully in a couple weeks I can let you guys know how that goes. But you can go to dragonsprofitthegame.com, and it's really cool. It's all about, it looks like it takes the coolest parts of WoW that I really like is like battle petting, right? So you get to collect all these dragons. They have different powers, and you use them in your battles. And depending on what your character class is, then you have dragons that can help you. Or, you know, if you want to be a healer, you can ride a dragon that is like a tank sort of thing. So it's like being a hunter, but with dragons. And there's supposed to be like 300 different types of dragons in this game. And it basically looks like WoW meets Skyrim, and except you can actually like ride the dragons, which you couldn't do in Skyrim. So, or you can't do yet.
Couldn't you do it in one of the expansions?
I can't remember. I know that there was a rumor that you could, but I don't think that one's actually been released yet.
It's
I
like
think
Dragonborn.
Dragonborn is out, I think. No, wait. I can't remember.
Well, more importantly, I want to confirm for you, Jocelyn, that in this MMO you're going to be playing, boob armor is non-existent. There's definitely areas where armor is not covering boob. Why do MMOs do this? We've had this conversation.
Yeah, we've had this conversation so many times.
It's not Terra bad, but it's...
oh shoot, I can't remember where it's where the developer's from, but I'm pretty sure it's a Korean developer, I think. Which it was a Korean developer that did Terra, right? I think it's just a kind of Korean art style in MMOs. So,
well,
I mean, it looks really interesting. I'm looking really forward to it. So,
if it was from a Korean developer, then they're holding back because there's actually too much.
Very conservative.
All right, guess.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think the release date is supposed to be sometime in the first half of 2013, so I imagine they'll probably finish up the closed beta at the end of May, and then probably have an open beta a weekend or two, and then launch the game. So everyone should go check that out. The bad thing I have to say about Raptor, and there is actually currently no way to fix it because it's been on the forums quite a lot actually, is privacy issues. I was sat down to play WoW, and I logged into the AI event, which is a private password protected server, and there was a little message that popped up on the bottom right side of my screen that said GIS Gamer is on vent, join her, and then IP address. And I was just like, whoa, what? Like, what? That's not my server. That's not okay. I didn't say announce that to the world. And it's just it's supposed to be to promote like access or community within Raptor, which is okay, but there's no way to turn it off. And I looked everywhere, and I can't find like the location of where that would broadcast to. And I know it just goes to my friends list, but at the same time, I'm just like, they're not AIE, like, and it doesn't give the like the password or anything. So even if they were to somehow get there, they couldn't get in. But still, I was just like, oh my god, no! Like, undo, back, no!
Do you use the Raptor desktop?
Yes, yeah.
See, I don't even use that. I just log into the website and
track manually?
It records from when I log into different games, Steam and my Xbox and PlayStation, but...
Yeah, so I'm not sure if it's just the Raptor desktop that does it, or if it would happen if I had the website open too, because if the website has access to see what programs I'm running, which is how Raptor works and how it tracks your game time, then basically what it's doing is it's reading Vent as a game and then sending out information based on that, which, I mean, I've allowed for other games that it's fine, but in terms of my actual Vent server, like, I don't want that information out there. It's not mine to give, so... I was really upset by that, actually. So now I don't try.
Disable it when you play, I guess.
I do, yeah. I turn off Raptor when I play when I'm going to be on vent. So yeah, I was kind of disappointed in that. So
it's weird.
Yeah, and the post on the forum starts like I think about a year and a half ago. And there's people going right up until like a week ago saying like, yeah, guys, if you could take a look at this and fix it, that would be awesome. Like, just give us the option to turn it off. And they haven't. So I'm kind of torn over how I feel about this now, because privacy, I feel, is a huge issue, and not giving you the option to turn things off is not cool. So there were a bunch of workarounds that people posted, like if you change the name of like from ventrilo.exe to like vent.exe, it doesn't know what program to look for, so it won't actually broadcast. But I mean, I shouldn't have to play around with my system like that just so that Raptor doesn't broadcast my vent info. So I wasn't very happy about that. But overall, I mean, but then they gave me a beta key, so I was like,
So if you want to hack Jocelyn's passwords, just give her beta keys, and she'll be like, I don't care.
I'll just give you everything. Beta key, okay.
Oh, here's my email password.
Oh man, I could get in so much trouble. So Ryan and I really appreciate your continued support of our show, along with the support of our sponsor, Doghouse Systems. When you use the code TheGamersIn to double your RAM, when you purchase a new gaming rig, 4 becomes 8, 8 becomes 16, but 16 does not become 32, because that would be crazy. Head on over to doghousesystems.com and get your order on. Which brings us to Quickfire News.
Whoa. Frostbite 3.0 is skipping the Wii U. It's getting to be about that time for the Wii U. The next Xbox and PS4 are expected this fall, and so many third-party companies are shifting focus to the next generation. EA DICE technical director Johan Andersson revealed that the developer's Frostbite 3 engine does not run on Wii U. Making matters worse, Frostbite technical director Stefan Boberg noted that 15 games are currently in development at EA using Frostbite Engine 3, including Battlefield 4, Mass Effect 4, Dragon Age 3, Army of Two, Need for Speed 2013, and its unannounced Star Wars titles from Visceral and DICE. Womp womp.
So I just wanted to add some quick news to the Quickfire News, that the Leafs are winning 2-0. Suck it, Boston. Okay, moving on. EA gets exclusive rights to all future Star Wars games. Disney and EA announced this week that EA will be the only company licensed to create new video games set in the Star Wars universe for the core gaming audience, in quotes. Everyone knows my feelings about EA as a company, but that aside, lack of competition is never good for anyone. EA says its in-house teams of DICE and Visceral, who are behind Battlefield and Dead Space respectively, will work on new titles alongside BioWare, who are the creators of Star Wars: The Old Republic. Disney holds the rights to the social and mobile IP, allowing them to license those out as they see fit.
Huh. Rumor has it Nintendo wants the Wii U to run smartphone apps. Kyoto News has reported that Nintendo has offered professional use conversion software to application developers so they can produce smartphone games that can be played on Wii U. I'm sure Nintendo is hoping this will boost the amount of games being released on the console. I'm also sure Nintendo shareholders are hoping this means Nintendo will start making smartphone apps. If this truly is something Nintendo is investing in, I'm sure we'll hear more at E3 next month.
The Sims 4 has been announced. In other EA news this week, Maxis has announced that their next project will be, not surprisingly, The Sims 4. The official announcement doesn't give a whole lot of details, but does state a target release of 2014. The Sims is the most successful simulation franchise, selling over 150 million copies worldwide. One detail that has been released is that the franchise will remain an offline single-player experience, probably due to all the negative publicity around the Always Online reboot of SimCity earlier this year. Are you laughing?
No.
Oh.
Well, I mean, you shouldn't be excited about this.
Yeah, really. So the only teaser that Maxis has released was a shot of the character's eyes, saying that it would play a big role in the next iteration of the franchise. With the
You could zoom way in.
Yeah, really. Whole new levels of zoom. With the exception of the character on the left, I think it looks like more of the same. Very jagged movements with flat surfaces. I really hope there's some serious graphics work happening in the next year. Otherwise, this is a no-go for me.
John Carpenter wants to make a Dead Space movie. The man behind horror classic The Thing shared some interesting comments during an interview with IGN. Carpenter said, I maintain that Dead Space would just make a great movie because you have these people coming onto an abandoned, shut down spaceship and they have to start it up and something's on board. It's just great stuff. I would love to make Dead Space into a film. He probably sounded more excited when he was saying this. I'll tell you that right now. That one is ready made. That's probably not what he said. He's really old. This doesn't mean we can expect a film anytime soon, but the idea behind Carpenter directing Dead Space is a cool concept. Let's hope EA agrees.
IdrA has been fired from Team Evil Geniuses. Greg IdrA Fields was a member of the pro StarCraft II gaming team Evil Geniuses, or EG, for 3 years. Known for his inflammatory style, rudeness to opponents, and general dismissal of StarCraft II itself, IdrA went too far this week when talking to fans after pulling out of a World Championship Series match. While motivations for his pulling out of the game mid-match when there was no clear winner are speculated to be better seeding in the long run, what got him kicked out of out of EG, was a statement to fans on forums after the match. One fan suggested that IdrA's behavior was driven by the need for larger-than-life characters in StarCraft II eSports, to which IdrA responded, "Nope, you're all a bunch of fucks. It just so happens I get paid to treat you like it. It's fucking awesome." EG stated that disrespecting opponents on ladder was one thing, but fans are why esports exist, and IdrA's attitude towards them could no longer be tolerated. I say good on EG, the move shows a certain amount of maturity and professionalism that should be displayed by anyone calling themselves pro at anything.
Sounds like an asshole. Shadow of the Eternals using purchased Silicon Knights art assets. Precursor Games has been saying that their new crowdfunded title, Shadow of the Eternals, is a spiritual successor to Eternal Darkness. And what better way to accomplish that than by using art assets created by the original developer, Silicon Knights, that were for an unannounced project, rumored to actually be Eternal Darkness 2. Precursor has confirmed that they bought, paid for, and implemented these art assets, and also bought development computers and other office equipment from Silicon Knights. The more we hear about this project, the more I think Precursor Games is the spiritual successor to Silicon Knights. It's a lot of knights.
That is a lot of knights. Diablo 3 has even more auction house troubles. Dubbed Goldgate, Diablo 3's auction house was plagued by more issues when patch 1.0.8 dropped earlier this week. A gold duplicating bug was discovered, at which time Blizzard pulled the auction houses in an attempt to save an already troubled economy. Blizzard has now announced that they will be running an audit and will be identifying the players who exploited the bug instead of forcing everyone offline. The auction houses remain offline for an undisclosed amount of time, and no word yet on the number of people who took advantage or the punishment that will be placed on the offenders. You can check out an article I wrote about exploiting game bugs over on the Doghouse Network website and sound off in the comments about what you think is an appropriate punishment, if anything. And that brings us to our topic of the week. And this week we have Scott here to talk the OUYA, because he is a Kickstarter backer and has it in his hot little hands right now. And
whoa,
it's tiny.
It's so small.
Like it looks like well, I guess it is a toy.
Don't bite it. I can imagine you could do some damage. That thing looks like small enough that I could take a chunk out of it.
It's about the size, a little bigger than a baseball. And probably maybe about the same weight. So you could probably break a window with it, but
yeah,
probably at the moment sometimes I kind of have the attitude it might be just good as a paperweight, but so I just got this about a week ago. One thing, the box is really pretty. When I
you
first
gotta know if that's the best thing you have to talk about, then maybe there's a little bit of an issue with OUYA. So yeah. The box is pretty. That's good.
Yeah, the box is pretty. And this is kind of this is not ugly. I mean, it's attractive.
Which way's up?
Okay, so this is the top. It has a button on top when it's plugged in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is the button right here. You can press it; it'll turn on if it's plugged in, but I don't have it plugged in right now, of course. And then on this, so that would be top. This is one of the sides here. It has all the plugins for your internet. It also has wireless, so you don't need that necessarily. But then it has an HDMI port and a USB port, and then the power plug-in. Huh. So that's all of that. And then of course you have the controller here.
Really odd-looking controller. So
it's got the the standard D-pad, the 2 thumbsticks, and the buttons. And then
the buttons actually say OUYA, don't they?
Yeah, they're spells out.
Yeah.
I don't know how to get that, but
OUYA.
Yeah.
It also has the 2 buttons on top there for your other.
It sounds light. Like every time you click a button, it sounds very thin.
I was gonna say the buttons sound kind of
cheap.
Iffy.
I mean, you can't really.
Feature of the controller is, of course, the panels come off.
Of course.
Customization.
But so you can put the batteries in. So there's no way, rechargeable system. So of course you have to, I guess use rechargeable
AA batteries, but still, you can't buy any kind of battery pack or plug them in or anything like that, like you can with the. Well, I guess it's still early. We should say that the release date for Kickstarter backers, of which Scott is one, like we mentioned, was March 28th. The actual retail release date has been pushed back to June 25th, so still in June, but end of June instead of beginning of June. With a price of $100, which I mean for a console is dirt cheap, right? So
yeah, and I don't want to put it down too much. When I backed it, I backed it based off of the video and everyone's excitement. I guess I was kind of excited. I was like, oh, this looks kind of cool. I don't have any Android devices, so I thought, oh, this will be my Android device. But plugging it in and seeing what's available at the moment, it's kind of lackluster to me.
Do you think that that's because you're a Kickstarter backer, so you're getting it a couple months earlier than the retail release? Do you think maybe you'll see a surge of titles coming in June, or do you...
I from what I've read, I think so, and I hope so. I was looking at the wiki earlier today, and it had a long list of games. I'm like, well, where were these now? I guess, but they're coming for release.
Right. So
I hope so. In my notes here, I played about 10 different games. It was hard for me. They have in the menu, they have play, discover, and if you're a developer, there's a make, and then there's one other option I can't remember. Oh, it's the settings, and so you can set up your network and whatnot. But you go into the discover, and then it has staff picks and other ways to find games. And when looking through those, it's like, oh, there's only about 20 to 30 games, I guess. And I went through and I played about 10 of them at the moment. When you pick a game, it downloads it to your device, and then you have it in your play section, and you can go and play it. And one of the things is, so far, I haven't found any games that are totally free. They're all free to try, and then if you want to play more, you have to buy it. And there's varying prices on that.
So if you have to download everything, I pulled from the site today, the storage capacity is 8 gigs of internal flash memory. So that must fill up pretty quick. Like, are they large games or
no?
Oh, okay.
Most of them are pretty small.
So kind of arcade indie kind of titles.
So far it feels like I'm playing games on my iPad.
Oh, really?
On this device. Yeah, right now they feel more appy than they do console gamey to me. There's a couple games that I played. I like the Final Fantasy game. I haven't got into a lot of those, but the feel of it was more console gaming than some of the other ones I played. What was the other one I played?
The chat room is telling me that currently Android games are around 100 megabytes max. So I mean, so then 8 gigs of space would be quite a few games, and I mean, I imagine you can delete whatever you're not playing. And
you want to take it off, you just erase it, and then you can re-download it, I guess, if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's a couple others. This is one called Puddle. It's more kind of like I guess you call it a puzzle game where you have to move the water through the pipes and stuff like that. And
water through wasn't there a Windows game back in like when games first came to Windows?
Where you had to pick the pipe
you had to
piece
pick the
to move
pipe,
the water
yeah.
along. Yeah, this one's a little different where you actually rotate the whole map around to get the water to flow through the pipe.
Oh my God, Ryan, you never played that? It was like there was a grid, and then there was like a start point and an end point, and you had to place the pipes to make the water run seamlessly through to the end. It was a great game. And so there's like a stack of pieces on the side, and you had to click in the next square to cycle through the pieces. And so if you clicked once too many times, you had the wrong piece, and you had to click like crazy and try to make this whole big long squiggle of pipe pieces. And then the more levels you did, the faster the water would go. And I think actually originally it was green slime, and then more iterations of it changed it to water, but I vividly remember green slime going everywhere.
Man, why would they get rid of green slime going everywhere?
I know, right? Water's
boring. Who cares if you get wet? It's like if you get like covered in green goo, that's a weekend and a half. What is that game show?
Nickelodeon.
There was one in Canada we used to watch.
Wipeout?
No, shit. Now it's gonna bug me. Uh-oh. And then they get all slimed.
What?
Do you remember that one, Jocelyn?
No.
It was on YTV. Come on, Canada, represent.
Nope, not even a little.
Oh, I guess it was after your
Canadians.
time.
Yeah.
Canadians. We're gonna talk about hockey, and you're gonna like it.
Okay.
Anyways, back around to
So-
the OUYA.
Yeah. Is there a hockey game? No, I'm just kidding.
There is actually, and that was one
Oh.
of my least favorite games. It's called Ice Rage.
Oh.
It was really appy. It felt really iPad-y to me. Though
Well, I
there's
guess
nothing
it's-
wrong with that, but it just didn't feel like a console game. Basically it's Pong, but with little hockey guys, and you can direct the puck a little better.
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean,
In
I'm
the
not,
way that one. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
sorry, I was just gonna say I'm not gonna. A console is all about its games. I mean, you're
Yeah.
talking to the guy who has a Wii U, and there's probably more selection on the OUYA than there is in the eShop. So, but when it comes to the OUYA, when it gets released and the console starts to take off, it'll just be like iOS. When iOS first came out, the games were sort of like you say, appy and not really like, they didn't feel like games on the platform. And now iOS is sort of like, yeah, that's an iOS game, and it's great.
Yeah.
So
That's my hopes too. Is that when it gets closer to release, there'll be some more things to make it a little more exciting and more, I guess, fun.
Now, are there, like you mentioned, the games are very appy, which drives me to ask, are there like apps for the system? I know they mentioned Netflix. You got your rules,
One of the ones I only saw was Twitch,
Mhm.
and it was okay. The one thing I didn't like about it, there's no search feature, so you can't search for a certain Twitch feed.
So
You can only search for the ones that are on their list.
Oh, okay, so you're able to log in with your Twitch account, and then anyone you
No.
follow is up there?
It's just the basic. Say, like you went to Twitch.com, you would see that page, and then you could search them. You can't even log in to Twitch,
Oh.
so you just
I think-
randomly see shows on Twitch.
Yeah, I think the Twitch iOS app was like that for a long time, where you could only look at their featured list. But I mean, that's the other thing too, is a lot of people might be looking at this as like I want to have a little box in front of my TV that does, media streaming. That's what I'd be looking at it for, like media streaming and Netflix. And because I have like 3 devices hooked up to my TV, all video game consoles, and I don't have an Apple TV. So, it'd be nice. Like I bought a Roku for my girlfriend's dad, and he loves it because it's just this little box plugged into the TV. He thinks it's great, and it does Netflix and all that fun stuff. So I think this would also be an interesting sort of like a Roku sort of replacement, but it'll actually play real games and has a real controller.
Mm-hmm. Now, does the controller have a touchpad? Is that what the middle black part is? I can't remember.
Nope, it's just,
it's just
hard
fancy?
plastic. Yeah,
Oh.
it's got blinking lights here to hook up your Bluetooth, and then the power on button down here at the bottom.
I see. So one of the reasons that it has been pushed back is apparently there's been some controller issues with pushing the buttons and then them getting stuck underneath the casing. Have you had any issues with your? It was apparently with the Kickstarter versions, and they realized that when people went to go play with it, so they pushed back the release.
Oh yeah, I just did it.
So
Is it like a faceplate issue? Probably.
Yep,
Like,
totally is. It pops the faceplate off.
so they're going to be sending you like replacement
Well,
faceplates?
that's what I was gonna say. It seems like backing the Kickstarter. I mean, it's good because you're making projects happen, and they probably wouldn't go forward without programs like Kickstarter. But at the same time, being a backer, you now have a version of the OUYA, which is not the final retail version, that has problems and doesn't have a big game library. Is backing a Kickstarter for a project like this something that you would do again, or is this enough to make you rethink backing kind of prototype gaming devices?
I think I would probably still back it because I don't know. They told you what it's going to be, so there's no, I guess, an expectation on that part. But hopefully, they'll take care of the people who supported them, and they'll fix any issues that they have, and everyone will be happy. But I
wonder
don't know.
if it's going to be like what the Wii did with the Wiimotes when they started offering. You just had to, what was it, like call them or email them or something if you'd bought
send
a Wii.
you Wiimote condoms.
Oh, they
Before,
just send you a
with
condom,
the
yeah.
little, I was going to try to think of the actual name, but yeah, if you guys just want to call them the Wiimote condoms, we'll
I
just
think
call
they
them
were
the Wiimote condoms.
Jackets.
Yeah, I
Stop
guess.
saying condoms, Jocelyn. We used our one allotment of condoms, and now we've said it too many times.
Now we've just said it like 10 times, and now it's just gonna get awkward. Way to go!
Everybody gets one. I think they were called jackets, but yeah, you could like call in, and I mean, we've been pretty hard on the OUYA, covering it since it's tough. Like a new product's really tough to come out with, especially these days with major competitors like Microsoft and Apple. But this company, like the OUYA company, has been really good, I think, at sort of being a Kickstarter project and supporting their Kickstarters, and I think they're going to give it a fair shake. Like they're really serious about what they're doing.
They've been
with this
quite open,
postponement of their release, they even got more money. I was reading that today, that they got $15 million more to help promote the development of more games. So,
which I also thought that was interesting because I'm not an investor, so I don't really understand how all of this works. But it's venture capitalist funding, and I thought the whole idea of them getting Kickstarter funding was that then they get to kind of keep control, keep everything under what their original team wanted, and like if you get big investors putting millions of dollars into your project, then don't they get some kind of share or input or control or something? It seems like the anti-Kickstarter, and they were so successful in Kickstarter that you're just like, well, you asked for however $100,000 they asked for. They ended up raising over $8 million, and now they've decided they need another 15. Like,
that's crazy.
It's very odd to me. And I mean, maybe it's just that they were way more successful than they ever thought that they would be, and they're running into some problems that they didn't think that they would have if they stayed really small at the $100,000 level. But because now they've grown so huge, they're having problems keeping up or something. I don't really know. I don't know the whole story of why they needed this extra money, but I mean, it seems interesting.
Well, I mean, I understand where you're coming from in the sense that the reason people do Kickstarters is like their main reason is we want your money so we can keep this our idea and protect our IP and protect our ideas. I am assuming here that not all sort of like venture capitalists, here's a bunch of money, end up taking a huge stake in the business. Maybe they have a seat on the, stakeholders or board of directors or whatever, but they can't say, well, I'm pulling our funding, I'm pulling our shares. I don't know for sure. I'm not a business guy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't
hope
know how all of this works and the ins and outs of investing, but it seems to me that having 2 or 3 venture capitalist type fund people giving you $15 million, which is twice as much as you raised on Kickstarter, it seems hinky. That's all.
It's weird.
Hinky.
But I mean, we probably won't see the effects of it. We'll only see the positive effects of it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
We won't. I highly doubt it's going to be anything bad come out of it, because more money does not necessarily equal more problems when it comes to this situation, I think.
Hopefully it equals more games.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
And that's what they could be using it for, to entice more developers to come in, to maybe, they're using some of the venture capital to buy some of their inventory so they can send things out for free. I have no idea. I don't run a business and I don't make a gaming console, so I don't know what they're using it for. But it'll be very interesting, I think, between now and June to see what actually happens with the OUYA and what we get come launch on the 25th. So, Scott, do you have any more quick thoughts before we move on to listener feedback?
I can't think of anything. I think we got it all.
Fantastic. So we had some feedback last week after we ended the show from the chat room about our gimmicks talk, because we completely forgot about virtual reality. And with the onset of the Oculus Rift, which was also a Kickstarter project, right? Ryan?
Yeah, it was a Kickstarter project.
Yeah,
it did really well as well.
Yeah. So basically what the Oculus Rift is it looks like a set of ski goggles almost, with 2 screens that give you the, it mimics stereoscopic 3D. So you get a full immersive field of vision experience. Apparently everyone can even see 2020 in virtual reality without the aid of glasses, which I thought was really cool, because the software can adjust the focal length for you, so you don't even have to wear your glasses inside it. So I thought that was really, really cool. But
that is amazing, because I'm sure a lot of people, especially like I'm wearing glasses currently, but I have contacts, and one of the things I hate is if my contacts are bugging out or something. They're like flipping out in my eyes, and I got to get them out of there. I go to a 3D movie, and it's like, great, I have my glasses like some kind of sucker. I should have made Scotty, you're not wearing glasses. No, you're good. Okay.
I have contacts.
Yeah, we're all contacts people,
We
except
are.
my eyes can't handle contacts this late at night. So that's great to hear because I know a lot of people like absolutely hate 3D because they can't stand the glasses.
Yeah.
So
So the Oculus Rift, I don't think we actually, do we have a release date on that?
August 2013 is, I believe, is when they're trying to get new orders out.
Yeah.
But dev kits are out right now.
Yes, they are. I did know that. So just recently, I think yesterday or the day before, they actually announced that Half-Life 2 is officially getting support for the headset. So I don't know. What do you think about just virtual reality in general? Let's start with Scott. Do you think that it's something that you would play with? Does it take you out of the experience? Is it just a gimmick like general 3D that, you know, would take away from the gaming experience?
Well, I don't know. I guess I'd have to experience to properly respond to that. But I'm not a big fan of any kind of 3D really. I don't like 3D movies at the movie theater and 3D
Neither
games.
do I.
I tried the Nintendo 3DS, and that's kind of cool. It's more of a gimmick than anything really. But yeah, I guess I'm against 3D or virtualization. Though I'd be interested to try it out and see how it is.
Well, one of the things that Ryan has thrown in the doc here, do you want to talk about it? That one of the devs have done with this that I think it's not a game, it's a simulation. And yeah. I find it really fun and kind of creepy and crazy that this is where they've gone with this new technology. But Ryan, why don't you explain what they've done?
So being a simulated reality and the thing is strapped to your head, you can kind of like look around and move and the game reacts. So someone's gone ahead and made a execution guillotine simulator. So what they're doing in these videos is they're setting people over as if they're, you know, putting their head up against the
chopping block.
Yeah, the chopping block. And they have one of the devs is, I think this isn't required experience, but one of the devs is behind him and they're like cueing him as the thing comes down and people are like up there watching it. And as the thing comes down on their neck, he's just giving them a good rap across the back of the neck. And people are freaking out because, I mean, this thing
it's
works.
Extremely realistic. Yeah.
Well, I think that's one of the key things about the Oculus Rift, and I mean, you mentioned the 3D on the 3DS is kind of gimmicky, and for some games, yeah, that's true. But I think one of the key concepts is that it works, right?
Mm-hmm.
The 3D on the 3DS is 3D, there's glassesless 3D, which is great. One of the major blocking points on 3D was having to wear those damn glasses, and now with VR, I mean, we all remember the amazing. Virtual Boy. It was fantastic. Made your eyes bleed. That the difference is that the Oculus Rift seems to be working. People are out there experiencing it. John Carmack is hugely behind the product. So I think that's the biggest difference is that with the Oculus Rift just seems to be working. I have not tried it.
Again, none of us have actually had hands-on with this, which is kind of the difference between the Oculus Rift and everything that we talked about in our topic last week, is that we haven't actually had hands-on experience with this. Very few people have. There's people with the dev kits have seen it. Some people at cons have seen it, but it's been a very kind of select group of people that have actually had a hands-on try at this. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when it comes out and what price point they're looking at. So I think that's kind of key to how gimmicky a gimmick is, I guess you can say. Like, I mean, the dev kits in the Kickstarter, I believe, were $300. So they're
still asking for $300 right now.
Yeah.
I would assume a dev kit would be more than the final unit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but you're probably still looking at a good $200 to $250 for the kit, for like the piece of kit, right? So I mean, that's a significant. I mean, that's what you pay for your consoles now, right? So, well, not the Wii U, but you know, if you want to go pick up an actual console like an Xbox or a PlayStation,
we're gonna keep having this conversation until the next Xbox comes out, and then you're gonna be like, Oculus Rift for $250. Psh, that's awesome because I can go buy a new Xbox for $600. Just you or a cell phone contract.
Yeah.
No, the Oculus Rift again, yeah, $250 is a lot of money for a specific. Like I can pay a 10-year-old game on it, but a lot of the people who are playing with this thing are saying this is the real deal, folks. This is working VR. This is what we want.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be interesting to see what future titles come out with support for this kind of tech, and I mean, we're just going to have to see with this because it's apparently still quite low resolution, which is one of what they were saying the biggest drawback to the system is that because there are two screens, I think each screen is 640 by 720 or something like that. Like they're two square screens, which is how they get the 3D. But so with it being such low resolution, when you are going into a virtual reality experience, you want the highest resolution possible to really pull people in. And if you don't have that high resolution, then you feel like they said some people feel like they're looking through a screen door, some people just can't quite focus. So if you have those kind of issues, then it's going to take away from the experience. So I think it's maybe the Oculus Rift 2 or 3 with some future games would be very, very interesting to see. But I mean, the first iteration might be gimmicky, but I think like the Kinect, it will get better with age and better with more iterations of the hardware. And, as technology advances in general, I think this is going to be really cool to see.
Yeah, you got to get there. You got to start somewhere. So.
Well, exactly. So I think that pretty much brings us to the end of the show. I just wanted to remind people again that if you are interested in a small PvE Gamers in Minecraft server, to shoot us a tweet or a Facebook post or an email and let us know. You can visit us on the web at gamersinpodcast.com or email the show at info@gamersinpodcast.com. You can find us on AMove TV along with other fabulous podcasts including Starcast, Campaign Roundtable, Biggest Fan, and This Week in Blizz. Scott, where can people find you online?
I'm on Twitter at ScottyD, and you can also check out the finalscoremc.com if you'd like to see the Final Score Minecraft server.
Awesome. So thank you again so much for joining us. We had a blast, and we got to see the OUYA, which is exciting. So yes, thanks again. You can follow us, the show, on Twitter. You can find me, Jocelyn, at GISGamer. Ryan is at R. Murphy. And don't forget to follow the show at The Gamers In. You can also find us on Facebook and Google+. Don't forget to leave an iTunes review, as it's the best way for our show to reach new listeners. So before we go, I just want to give a quick shout out and thank you to my brother Greg for creating our awesome music. You can find him online on Twitter at SoundsInfluence. We would like to thank Joel Duggan of Starcast Online, who drew our Twitter avatars and created our logo. You can find him on Twitter at Joel Duggan or read his comic at starcastonline.com. So thanks for staying at The Gamers In, and remember to tune in next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.